It's clear from the answers given to my colleagues, Senators Cash and Patterson, that regardless of what we hear from those opposite, the government is not taking the issue of anti-Semitism seriously. They often say the right things, but their actions do not match their rhetoric. And ultimately, government is about priorities. It's about what you choose to address and what you choose to ignore. And for too long, this government, this Prime Minister, senior ministers within this government have chosen to ignore, diminish, discount or even insult people who have called out the rise in anti-Semitism in our community. What have we seen in Australia these past 16 months? We have seen a sustained campaign of harassment, intimidation and vitriol targeted at one specific Australian community in a way that, to my mind at least, is unprecedented in our history. It has taken on the tones, undertones and manifestations of a terrorist campaign in the last several months, and it has been done solely, the targeting is being done solely on the basis of the religion these people observe or the faith that they uphold. Since the Opera House protests, these are the protests 2 days after the worst terrorist attack in Israel's history, the equivalent of like a dozen September the 11th being inflicted on a nation, the largest single loss of Jewish life since the Holocaust in a single day. 2 days after that, we saw the Opera House protests erupt, where we saw the most hateful and vile slogans being uttered at Jewish Australians, not Israel, at Jewish Australians. We saw Israeli flags being burnt, and since then we have seen a slow but sinister and inexorable descent of this campaign into lower and lower depths. It has gone from slogans and chanting and protests and doxing to harassment, graffiti, campus intimidation, to, in recent months, property damage, the torching of vehicles, most recently the firebombing of a synagogue, the firebombing of a childcare centre only last week, and now the discovery of a caravan laden with explosives designed to cause a mass casualty terrorist attack targeted at a Jewish institution. This is shocking in Australia. We had the intent, the ingredients, the capability to stage a mass casualty terrorist attack in Australia directed at one specific part of our community. And what have we heard from our Prime Minister on this? He will not even tell us whether he was aware of this plot. He is not able to say whether he was briefed on this plot. He is not able to reassure us that he has convened the National Security Committee of Cabinet, as Security and Intelligence Chiefs, to get to the bottom of this plot. Chris Minns knows what's going on, the Premier of New South Wales. As soon as this became public, he fronted the media. He told them what he knew. He told them the steps he was taking to reassure the community of their safety and the Jewish community of Australia. Anthony Albanese has been AWOL. The Prime Minister has been AWOL. This is not about revealing operational details or compromising intelligence or methods. It's about reassuring all of us that the person in charge of the country, in charge of the government, is on top of their game, that they are taking the issue seriously. Where is the Minister for Home Affairs on this? He's missing in action. He's in hiding. He's AWOL because he doesn't want to confront and tackle this issue because of his own local, domestic, political imperatives, if you like. Now, the Prime Minister has form here. You will recall that the coalition, after the 7th of October terrorist attacks, Peter Dutton, the Leader of the Opposition, asked Anthony Albanese to convene the National Security Committee of Cabinet to consider what the security implications would be for Australia. Anthony Albanese refused to do so. He refused to call the Prime Minister of Netanyahu for several weeks to express condolence at the largest loss of life in a terrorist attack that Israel has ever experienced. He refused to convene the National Cabinet after his own special envoy to combat anti-Semitism recommended he do so. He was only forced to do so under pressure. And even addressing caucus this week, his own party, he didn't take this issue seriously. This tells you everything you need to know about this government's approach to this